I will definitely show you this work of art in all its glory from multiple angles. But the Swedish snow penis saga is actually two sagas. So let's start with the first one. Back in 2016, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation put a headline on its website that I quite enjoyed. Swedish man creates giant snow penis to say sorry for destroying smaller snow penis. The CBC was not the only news media covering this story. In fact, it spread like gonorrhea around the world. It all started when people in Gothenburg, Sweden discovered a crude drawing in the snow on top of the ice covering a small channel or a moat around the Old Town section of the city. County Park Service workers received some complaints from people strolling around this moat and were called to remove the drawing. But they quickly determined that it was too dangerous because the ice was too thin and brittle. So the drawing stayed and quickly became quite a topic of conversation. In fact, vallgraven is Swedish for the moat, and apparently it briefly became popular among Gothenburg citizens to stop calling it vallgraven and instead calling it ballgraven, for reasons I'm sure any cunning linguist can figure out. The County Park Service said on the news that the drawing would have to stay until the weather allowed them to remove it. But this report caught the attention of a man named Emilian Sava, who owns a sanitation company that wasn't super busy during this time of year. They decided to take this penis into their own hands, you might say, and successfully removed the drawing using an absurdly long broom that they would normally use to clean building facades. Mr. Sava said in an interview with the Gothenburg Post that they took this on mostly because it seemed like a funny thing to work on, but also out of legitimate concern that one crude drawing could quickly turn into many crude drawings and maybe eventually truly hateful things. Sort of like the broken window theory, except instead of broken windows, it's perfectly intact penises. I believe this work was done pro bono, but I don't know that many Gothenburg citizens realized that, and many of them were quite mad that the county would spend valuable tax dollars removing a drawing from the snow that would just disappear on its own anyway, and also that probably amused a lot more people than it annoyed. A Facebook group or a petition called Restore the Snow was quickly erected, and over 1,600 people joined the cause. Now those aren't huge numbers, I suppose, but I bet it's about 1,597 more people than the group that complained about the drawing in the first place. And people also created a Facebook event urging everyone to go out and draw more snow penises all over Gothenburg in what you might call an uprising, especially if you were desperate for puns. Soon enough, Emilian Sava and his sanitation company received the message loud and clear. What they had thought was a good deed was apparently an abomination, and to their credit, they wanted to make things right. I started really feeling sorry for them because they really missed their penis, Sava told the CBC. He scouted a safer location and took out his powerful snowblower, which is not a euphemism, and drew an even bigger snow penis as a kind of memorial for the first original snow penis.
Yes, I took 2 snowblowers and I made a really huge snow penis.
That's Sava speaking to As It Happens host Carol Off, who does what any savvy journalist must do. She asks a follow-up question.
Just how big is your penis? I mean, the penis you made.
I think it's about 70 meters or something like that.
Wow, that's big.
The conversation continues around the idea that Sava's giant drawing might inspire others, to which he enthusiastically replies,
I got some calls and some information about people in the north of Sweden planning to do even bigger penises,
wow.
And I'm really happy with that.
I'm not sure how many Swedes actually took up the mantle and added more penises to their snowy landscape, but what I have gathered is that an annual tradition has emerged that involves building a large snow monolith in a roundabout in a small town called Buos. This masterpiece is from 2021. A while back, Buos was apparently named the place in Sweden where women are happiest sexually, a fact that is neither here nor there, and probably not even much of a fact. But there clearly are some really big penises there, and I mean, this is in the cold. Imagine this thing on a warm summer day. Or is that not how this works? Anyway, authorities in the town are not super thrilled about this tradition because they feel it's really bad for traffic safety. But the people putting these things up would like them to stay up, don't we all? Here is the 2022 version with an added sign that says, "Let's stand." Except "stå" is also a double entendre for a hard-on, basically. So, I guess what I'm saying is, this is art that has a lot of dimension to it. At the very least, 3 dimensions. Based on an article in the Gothenburg Post in January 2024, it appears these sculptures are being erected by a group of youngsters who have formed a political party to see how easy it would be to form a political party. It seems their most substantial contribution to public life is this constantly vanishing and reappearing snow penis. And the only political position they have managed to articulate is something about how less money should be spent on public art, a very common reactionary opinion among people who have absolutely no clue how tiny a fraction of a percentage of a state budget is typically spent on art, even in a region like Scandinavia. I mean, it's so tiny that it might as well be a micro penis, if you wanted a handy metaphor for how tiny it is. I say let's spend more money on public art, and I'd even be fine with these people getting a little bit of that action. Meanwhile, in Yekaterinburg, Russia, in 2023, residents were apparently outraged as a whole slew of snow penises appeared all over town, apparently kicked off with one outside the Yekaterinburg Opera and Ballet Theater. And here's one that's essentially a hood ornament, albeit not one the owner of the car requested. According to the Moscow Times, Yekaterinburg Mayor Alexei Orlov condemned the appearance of the snow penises as an outrage. But the mayor's office also stated they had no duty to crack down on it. So, okay then. Now you might rightfully assume that all of these snow penises are just like juvenile pranks committed by teenage boys. But apparently that's not always the case. Because for this holiday season, a woman named Silje Kjørstad in Norway contributed this decorative festivity to the larger tradition. She explained in an interview to the Norwegian newspaper VG that the backside of her house gets quite dark during winter, and she thought a bit of light decor would do the trick. But she felt arranging the lights into a Santa would be quite difficult. By the way, if I had an editor on this channel, they would definitely tell me to cut the following fun fact. But I don't have an editor, so I'm gonna tell you anyway. This house is located in a tiny place in Norway called Hadsel, which is also where Zach Condon recorded his latest Beirut album, also named Hadsel. It's really good, you should check it out. Condon, and that's with an N, not an M, was permitted to put his hands on the Hadsel church's organ, and that's not a euphemism. That instrument is instrumental to the sound of the record. Anyway, as we all await the 2025 version of the Buos traffic circle snow penis sculpture, I think I'll round things off here without much of a climax and mention that in my next video, if all goes to plan, I'll probably try to make some of my own art in the form of some kind of unusual Christmas card. Then again, things don't often go to plan around here, so we'll just have to see. Either way, I hope you're subscribed and that you'll consider hitting that like button on this video because it does help other people discover my channel. And I guess I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.